Hare Ram Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome to today's we have just last two or three more sessions which we'll be having. So just a minute. Hare Krishna. So we are in the almost this concluding part of the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna is asking one very specific question. Arjuna is asking, Arjuna has a concern. So he is asking this question to Madhusudana. And he says that Chanchalahi Mana Krishna Pramati Balavadridam Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayor Iva Sadushkaram. So he says that Vayor Iva Sadushkaram. So this Vayu word has come two times before also. And we see in the previous discussion in one of the verses, one more verses this Vayu word had come, right now. Where this Vayu word had come? In the, I think in the verse number, there was one verse about 6.19, I think 6.19, where Krishna speaks about Vayu. So he said Vayu is compared to material desires, the Vayu. So there is an example given there. When there is a lamp, and when this lamp is in the windless place, there is no wind blowing, and the lamp is there, then then the lamp becomes very very still, and that is compared to the mind of a yogi. That when the mind has become very still, and there are no material desires inside the heart of a person. So he said it is like compared with the wind. Here in this in this shloka, the wind is compared with the again material desires, and the wind is also compared with. Oh, am I audible clearly or voice is less?
Audible project.
Okay, so we find that wind is compared with the material desires here, and here example is given of Chanchalahi Mana Krishna Pramati Balavadridam. Balavadridam. Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayur Iva Sadushkaram. So Krishna, now can you just imagine Arjuna? Arjuna in the 5,000 years before, Arjuna was coming from a royal family, from a Kshatriya family. He had taken nice kind of footsteps. Means he's grown from a very background where he is very like a bodybuilder, he's very pakka, sense controlled, and he is like coming from an age of a Dwapar Yuga. And that time, when the situations were so much favorable for spiritual life, that time Arjuna is telling that no, it is very difficult. Can you imagine? Arjuna had a strength of thousands of elephants. He had actually power to control the wind. He had actually power to control the wind. But and what we can control, we cannot even control the wind. If wind is flowing, we cannot even stop the some object also flying in the air. We cannot stop it with our hands or with any amount of force. So we find that today's situation is much more unfavorable than what was there with Arjuna. Arjuna had a good body, Arjuna had a good memory, Arjuna had a good physical stature, everything was there with Arjuna. And that time distractions were almost nil in Dwapar Yuga. And then that time Arjuna is telling that it is much more difficult, it is impossible, it is impractical. So here, and you can understand that Arjuna understood entire Bhagavad Gita in just a matter of 1 hour. We are taking one life also, we are not able to understand whether we'll understand Bhagavad Gita or not. So if you really see that Arjuna is telling that, and Arjuna is telling one more thing. He's telling that mind is always full of anxiety. So this is the nature of the world. This is the nature of world, that there will be always anxieties in this material world. And he compares mind with one demon, and that is called as Madhu. That's why he addresses Krishna as O Madhusudana. O Madhusudana. He says that I can control many demons. But O Madhu, you are killer of demon Madhu. And you are killer of Madhu. So you have to, it is you only who can control my mind. I cannot control my mind. Arjuna has declared. So can you imagine such a big royal order Kshatriya has declared that I cannot control my mind. I don't have any power. I am helpless to control my mind. He says. And do you think what was impossible for Arjuna is possible for you and me? If for Arjuna it was impossible to control the mind, then what we can do? How we can do? It is impossible to control the mind. It is Krishna who has to control the mind. So similarly, whenever it is said we should control our senses, whenever it is told we should control our mind, that means what? That means we have to allow Krishna to control our mind. We have to allow Krishna to control our senses. And how to allow Krishna to control our mind and senses? That is by engaging in Krishna consciousness. So in the next shloka, Krishna says, Arjuna, you have killed so many people in the past. You have defeated even Lord Shiva. You have defeated even Indra. And you are saying that just a small mind cannot be killed? He said, yeah, there was a demon called as Madhu. And this Madhu demon was not being killed by anyone else. Only you had to come and you had to destroy. So that means what? That it is much more difficult to. Arjuna is able to control and fight with even Lord Shiva and even Indra, but he is not able to control the mind. So who are we? Do you really think what was impossible for Arjuna is possible for us? No, it is almost impossible. It is almost means it is impossible. So how it is possible? Then it is possible by two things. Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya and vairagyena chagrayate. That suitable practice and detachment. So what is the suitable practice? Anyone knows? What was a suitable practice which was mentioned? What is the suitable practice and detachment? Can you give some example? What is a suitable practice Krishna mentions or Prabhupada gives in purport? What is a suitable practice by which one can control the mind? The solution given in the verse number 35. Anyone of you?
By chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. In general, you can say.
Practice and detachment.
Okay, what is that practice? What is that practice?
Hearing.
Closing
Hearing.
Okay.
Nine
Just
types
one
of
more.
devotional service.
Navada Bhakti. Navada Bhakti. He said engage in the Navada Bhakti. That is called as suitable practice. So we have to allow Krishna to control our mind. And we can allow Krishna to control our mind by 9 ways. There are 9 ways by which we can allow Krishna to control our mind. So whenever we are engaging in those 9 activities, we are allowing Krishna to control our mind. Otherwise, it is impossible. So he says by suitable practice and then Vairagya. Vairagya is such a nice thing. Vairagya means what? Vairagya means it's a detachment. Detachment. We have to keep aloof from an environment which will tempt us. So that is called as Vairagya. So now, when we are in this section of 6th chapter, like again and again, this certain words are coming right now. Like the verse number 27, 28 spoke about Brahman realization. Verse number 29 spoke about Paramatma realization. And verse number 30, 31 is speaking about Bhagavan realization. So wherever the word mam comes, wherever the word mam comes, na mam anusmara yuddhacha, mam, wherever this vyomam pashyati sarvatra, mam. So wherever mam comes, devotees refer to it as a Bhagavan realization. It is said it is a Bhagavan realization. So wherever this word mam comes, it is considered to be like a Bhagavan realization. So here you see these words Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Actually, they are interchangeable. Like you see Vishnu and Krishna. These words are also interchangeable sometimes. Like sometimes even Prahlad Maharaj will speak about Vishnu. Sometimes he will say Krishna Grihitatma. So Krishna, Govinda, Vishnu. Even in the Ras Leela, sometimes the word Vishnu comes, although Krishna is involved. So these words are actually interchangeable sometimes. So there are two things. One is called as text and one is called as context. Text and context. So both have to be seen together always. Text and context. Context मतलब क्या? There is a background. Who is speaking? Who is speaking? And what is the background? So because in Bhagavatam, there are many philosophers who are involved. Many philosophers are speaking. Sometimes this devotee is speaking, so he may call Krishna to be Vishnu. Sometimes this gopis are involved, so he may even call Vishnu to be Krishna. So text and context. So you see, now somebody may Prabhupada writes in the purport one more thing, that even Arjuna could not control his mind and senses. We never find Arjuna doing tapasya in Prabhupada writes in this purport. So one devotee was asking, Prabhuji, it is written that we never found Arjuna engaging in Ashtanga Yoga. Prabhupada wrote this in purport, in that this 36 wala. That Prabhupada never, that Arjuna never engaged in Ashtanga Yoga path because it was impractical. But then one devotee was asking, Prabhuji, in Mahabharata we have seen, in Mahabharata we saw that Arjuna, in order to obtain Pashupat weapon and different weapons, he used to go to tapasya, he used to go to forest and used to sit and meditate on Lord Shiva, meditate on Lord Indra. So you said that he never did meditation like that. So see, it is not that meditation is wrong. Meditation we also do, like we sit in Japan all. He worshipped different demigods also as a part of Bhakti Yoga. He even worshipped Shiva, he worshipped Indra, but that was a part of a Bhakti Yoga because it was on the instruction of Krishna, whatever things he was doing. So that becomes Bhakti Yoga. Like sometimes it is told that you go to doctor to get treatment of your medicine. So now you may say, Prabhu, am I going to doctor? Is it a Bhakti Yoga? I'm not fully dependent on Krishna. I'm dependent on someone else. So isn't it a breach of Bhakti? I should be fully surrendered to God. I'll never go to any doctor. No. The Guru has told you, devotees have told you, Krishna has told, okay, go to doctor, get the medicine. So similarly, for Arjuna also, going to demigods was not like a lack of surrender. Krishna told, go to Lord Shiva, get this weapon, and he did that way. So it is not that just by doing meditation, he was doing Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is a different thing at all. Ashtanga Yoga is very different. So sometimes mind is also compared with, so mind is compared with the wind. Mind is also compared with a naughty child. Another thing which a mind is compared with is many times is naughty child, or mind is compared with a pumschali, like a prostitute. So many different comparisons are. So why naughty child? Naughty child is like the child. Sometimes mind is a childish curiosity. ये क्या है? वो क्या है? छोटा बच्चा जैसे देखता है ना, अरे ये क्या है? अरे वो क्या है? सब कुछ एक क्यूरियोसिटी रहती है. वैसी माइंड की भी एक चाइल्डिश क्यूरियोसिटी रहती है. Like I was one devotee. I was just talking to one devotee. I said like Instagram is there, na? Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Why do people watch Facebook and Instagram at all? There is a childish curiosity. अरे ये क्या है? वो क्या है? Otherwise कोई खाना खा रहा है, कोई सो रहा है, मैं क्यों देखूं? कोई खा रहा है, कोई सो रहा है, कोई पढ़ रहा है, कोई नाच रहा है. दूसरों को दूसरा खा रहा है, उसमें मैं क्या देखूं? मुझे क्या मिलने वाला है? एक childish curiosity है. Just to keep on watching what others are doing, what is doing. This is childish curiosity. So it is said, mind to compare with a child, and sometimes child becomes pramathi. Pramathi means obstinate. एकदम पागल बन जाता है वो. ऑब्स्टिनेट बन जाता है, एकदम जिद्दी बन जाता है. तो आप देखो, जिद्दी का मतलब क्या? आप कुछ शास्त्रों में से ऐसे एग्जाम्पल दो जो बहुत जिद्दी थे, बहुत जिद्दी थे. कई लोगों ने उनको अच्छी एडवाइस दी लेकिन माने ही नहीं. ऐसा कोई एग्जाम्पल बताओ शास्त्रों में से. कुछ ऐसे लोग जिनको बहुत अच्छी एडवाइस दी गई लेकिन माने ही नहीं, बिल्कुल एकदम पक्के
धृतराष्ट्र,
धृतराष्ट्र, वेरी गुड. और कोई रावणा,
Karna.
वेरी
Vena.
रावण, कंसा, वेणा, दुर्योधन, सारे देखो आप, एकदम जिद्दी के समान काम किया. इसको कहते हैं ऑब्स्टिनेट. रावण को कितने अच्छे एडवाइस दिए गए, नहीं माना. कर्णा या देन दुर्योधन, सीयूसी जिद्दी. सो इट इज सेड, then what is the method to control the mind? He said by suitable practice and detachment. And then Krishna comes to the conclusion. Krishna says, mind control is must for yoga. Any kind of yoga you want to do, you have to learn to control the mind. Without controlling the mind, it is impossible to practice yoga. So, Prabhu, I think last time we completed till verse number 36 or 35.
38 Prabhu.
Acha, 30 is 38, 37 also we completed, 37, 38. Okay. So then in the verse number 37, Arjuna is asking about what is the fate of a fallen yogi. Like मैं अगर भक्ति में ले रहा हूँ, मैं योगा पाथ पे ले रहा हूँ और मैं योग भी नहीं कर पाया और मैं मटर लाइफ भी नहीं कर पाया, तो मेरा क्या होगा कालिया, मेरा क्या होगा कालिया कृष्णा. सो अर्जुन पूछते हैं कि मेरा क्या होगा कालिया. तो ही सेज दैट टेंशन मत लो, बोले क्या होगा तुम्हारा. So then the verse comes is the very famous shloka 6.40 and 6.41, the very famous shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. So 37 is talking about क्या होगा ऐसे व्यक्ति का जो भक्ति से विचलित हो गया, जो डिस्ट्रैक्शन में फंस गया, उसका क्या होगा. So this is spoken in 37 and 38 and 39, and 40 Krishna will answer what will happen to such a person. Okay, we can read the verse number 30 point. Where to start point? 3.38 or 39? 6.38 or 39?
39.
Okay. Someone can share the screen. एतान्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेतुम् अर्हसति अशेषतः त्वदन्य संशय यस्य चेतना हि उपपद्यते.
Translation.
This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Purport. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities existed individually in the past. They exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna. And certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers are at the mercy of material nature, cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly, but no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what.
Yeah. So here the word which is used is etan. Etat word is used in the shloka. Now etan means this is. So it is said generally, ideally it should be etam. So he said this is generally used in a poetic license. Sometimes poetic license we have to change little bit word. Ki bajayo, like sometimes we change the word, a little bit change for a poetic license to come to a meter. So this is being mentioned. So is here Arjuna is saying no one apart from you can destroy my doubts. That's why Madhusudana. So no one apart from you can destroy my doubts. So he said you are the expert in killing and destroying the doubts. So please remove my doubts. No other sages, no other people can destroy my this doubt. So please clarify. So now 6.40, Krishna is going to tell about there is no misfortune for anyone. Anyone who has taken to the path of yoga, there is never going to be a misfortune for such a person. So this is 6.40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthanaiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kashit Durgatim Tata Gacchati.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, son of Partha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.517, Sri Narad Muni instructs Vyasdev as follows: त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मां चरन् भुजं हरे भजनान् अपकवो तत् ते पतितो यदि यत्र कव भावद्रम अबुध अमुष्य किम को वार्थ अपतो भजतां स धर्मतः. If someone gives up all the material prospect and takes complete shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in his occupational duties and yet not gain anything. For material prospect, there are many activities, both scriptural and customary. A transcendentalist is supposed to give up all material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness. One may argue that by Krishna consciousness one may attain the highest perfection if it is completed. But if one does not attain such a perfectional stage, then he loses both materially and spiritually. It is enjoined in scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transcendentalist that there need be no worries. Even though he may be subjected to the reaction for not perfectly executing prescribed duties, he is still not a loser because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten and one so engaged will continue to be so even if he is low born in the next life. On the other hand, one who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious result if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, namely the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in the bestial sense gratification without knowledge of their next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section, and those who follow the principle of prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified amongst the regulated section. The non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak, are full of animal propensities. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material existence, which is always transcendentalist generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such family. Fortunately, both our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhakti Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families. By the grace of Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of our transcendental system.
थोड़ा अलग है क्या आपका कुछ पर्पट प्रभु?
हाँ गुरु जी, कुछ अलग पढ़ा लगता है इन्होंने।
आपने शशांक प्रभु कहाँ से पढ़ा आपने?
Oh, प्रभु मेरा पेज एक स्किप हो गया प्रभु जी, सॉरी, वापस आई विल रीड.
हम सोच रहे कहाँ से आया है नया पर्पट.
Sorry. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material existence, which is always miserable. On the other hand, those who are regulated by scriptural injunctions and who thus raise gradually to Krishna consciousness certainly progress in life. Those who are following the path of auspiciousness can be divided into three sections, namely the followers of scriptural rules and regulation who are enjoying material prosperities, those who are trying to find ultimate liberation from material existence, and those who are devotees in Krishna consciousness. Those who are following the rules and regulation of scriptures for material happiness may be further divided into two classes: those who are fruitive workers and those who desire no fruit for sense gratification. Those who are after fruitive results for sense gratification may be elevated to a higher standard of life, even to the higher planets, but still, because they are not free from material existence, they are not following the truly auspicious path. The only auspicious activities are those which lead one to liberation. Any activity which is not aimed to ultimate self realization or liberation from the material bodily concept of life is not at all auspicious. Activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily discomfort for the sake of making progress on the path of Krishna consciousness can be called a perfect transcendentalist under severe austerity. And because the Eightfold Yoga system is directed toward the ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious, and no one who is trying his best in this matter need for degradation.
This is a very beautiful section here. So Krishna is telling in essence that any person who has begun a spiritual life, he will never have any destruction in this life or not in the next life. Having performed yoga will produce auspiciousness, nahi kalyana krit kaschit. So he says any kind of yoga which is being done, he says he will never suffer in this life. He will never suffer in this life. He will never suffer in the next one. So Arjuna, being asked by Arjuna, Lord is answering here that such a yogi who took to Krishna consciousness or took to the path of yoga has no loss of happiness of Swarga in the material world or seeing the Paramatma in the spiritual world. It is certain that eventually he will attain all of this, because anyone who begins this performance of yoga, which is the correct method for attaining the highest benefit, is not deprived either of material or spiritual benefits. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Tata. Tata. Tata means because of affection. So he's telling, although he is Krishna, Arjuna is Krishna's friend, but Krishna is addressing here like a son. That, oh my son, oh mere bete, oh mere putra, ऐसा बोल रहा है कृष्ण अर्जुन को. ताता. ताता का मतलब पिता, ताता मतलब father. Tata also means father. So tata, tata, I mean, tata means father and tata means son. So like that, this is coming here. So out of compassion and out of affection, Krishna is calling Arjuna as tata. ओ मेरे पुत्र, कभी कोई loss नहीं होने वाला है ऐसे व्यक्ति का. So now this Srila Prabhupada's purport has certain very vital points here. Srila Prabhupada begins with the section of Tyatva Sudharman Charanambujam Harer Bhajan Napakto. So this is spoken by Narad Muni. Narad Muni is speaking to Vyasdev like this. So when we take to Krishna consciousness, we have to be firmly convinced of this particular verse. That if I have taken to Krishna consciousness, and even if there is a law, even if there is some kind of failure, there is no loss at all. There is no failure at all. You should be convinced of this. On the other hand, if someone does his all material duties very nicely, but he did not give time to practice Krishna consciousness, what is the use? What is the use? Like I remember recently we are hearing from one of the Prabhupada disciple, Her Grace Devi Shakti Mataji. So she was speaking at the length on Brahmanand Prabhu. So in Vrindavan Dham, if you see, there is Samadhi of even Brahmanand Prabhu. So sometimes some people used to criticize, अरे कैसे प्रभुपाद के disciples लोग कैसे थे, कैसे गुरुज और कैसे सन्यासीस थे, क्या कहते हैं, सन्यास छोड़ दिया उन लोगों ने, fall down हो गया. If you just go and study the life of Brahmanand Prabhu, Gargamuni Prabhu and all, apparently it may appear that oh they give up sannyas, they give up brahmachari life and उनका fall down हो गया. बट प्रभु जरा एक क्वेश्चन ये बोलने के पहले जरा उनका जीवन और उनका अमाउंट ऑफ कंट्रीब्यूशन एंड अमाउंट ऑफ सैक्रिफाइस एंड द लव which they had for Prabhupada, that should be seen. That should be seen. Sometimes we are many times on the so much gross and external platforms of the color of the dress and the ashrama. So Devi Shakti Mataji was telling Brahmanand Prabhu क्या थे प्रभु means अगर उनका glories, there is an entire lecture series by our Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj on the glories of Brahmanand Prabhu. The Prabhupada के जो disciples थे ना कोई normal ऐसे थे नहीं. So you remember Brahmanand Prabhu is like Prabhupada's one of the favorite devotees, right? The kind of service. So once Brahmanand Prabhu and Garga Muni Prabhu, both of them were sent to Pakistan. Prabhupada said, "Arey, what you are doing? If you really want to do something in Pakistan." And Brahman Prabhu and Gargamuni Prabhu, both of them went to Pakistan. They went to Pakistan and they started preaching boldly. Then dhoti, kurta, tilak, they used to go, they used to perform Harinam Sankirtan, they used to preach to Muslims, they used to preach to everyone, Mullah, Masjid, anywhere they were traveling fearlessly. Later, Gargamuni Prabhu understood, thoda khatra hai idhar. It's a risky place. So Gargamuni Prabhu, chupchap, he was a Gargamani Prabhu, na? Prabhupada used to call him Gargamani. So he had money. So he just took a flight and he flew off to some other country only, some Dubai or some other country he flew off. Understood it's a very risky to preach here. But unfortunately, what happened? Brahmanand Prabhu had no money. Brahmanand Prabhu was very like every day he used to just distribute books. Whatever Lakshmi used to come from book distribution, with that he used to survive. Can you just ever think that only with the book distribution Lakshmi one will survive, and that too in another country? So he was surviving like that, and he was preaching so boldly, so fearlessly. And that time was a time when India, Pakistan, the conflict and the war was declared. Some kind of tension was going on, India, Pakistan. And the government declared borders closed, this happened, that happened, many things were happening. And Brahmanand Prabhu never knew because he was not knowing news and all these things about countries. So he was doing Harinam Sankirtan, preaching boldly. And one day, one person came and just told him, actually, I know you are a good person. I'm your well-wisher. But I just want to tell you some certain thing. Today evening, the group of people have planned to murder you. So I see, I'm not threatening or something. I just want to I'm well-wisher of you. He said today evening, the group of people from Pakistan, they have planned to murder you for all this your preaching and all these things, Sanatan Dharma and all these things. So he said they have planned to murder you. So it will be better that you leave the place, otherwise they will kill you. Then Brahman Prabhu thought how to live because he had no money, and somehow he did like something he did. And that time the news went to Srila Prabhupada. The news went to Srila Prabhupada that 5 Hindu people, and it was even written 5 Hare Krishna people killed in Pakistan. And Prabhupada was like crying, almost Prabhupada was crying. He felt so bad that he sent Gargamuni Prabhu, Brahmanand Prabhu to Pakistan and preach and all. And Prabhupada was almost crying. And just next day, Brahmanand Prabhu comes from there. And Prabhupada was shocked. Brahmanand, you are here? How come? And then Prabhupada embraced him, almost patted him. He cried for him. And Prabhupada showed affection. And he fed him nice prasad with his own hands, that you took so much risk for me. And immediately, you know what? Next day, Prabhupada asked him a question. So, Brahmanand, Prabhu, कितना बुक्स बांटा आपने पाकिस्तान में? बोले 0 बुक्स प्रभुपाद. कितने लाइफ मेंबर्स बनाए? बोले 0. कितने मंदिर खोले? 0. बोले क्या किया? वेस्ट किया तुमने पूरा टाइम पाकिस्तान में जाके, यूजलेस. He said, okay, no problem. Just go to another country now. Go to he sent him to go to some other country directly. Go to Japan or go to this country, he said. Can you just think? These disciples and all these Prabhupada disciples, they have actually given their entire existence for pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. So somebody may say, oh, somebody was a sannyasi before, then he became grasta, or somebody was a brahmachari before. So many times this question comes, oh, somebody, he took a risk to join brahmachari life. And after some time, it happened that because of some kind of difficulties which he's facing, he's now not able to continue his brahmachari life. Then some people may say, oh, Prabhu, he lost. Neither he could become successful brahmachari, neither now grahastha life also, he doesn't have job, doesn't have proper career, he has not accomplished much in the material world, and now he has to struggle like anything in this world. So what is the use? Better remain safe, don't do anything. So let's focus on the material life only. So we have to understand one thing, that what a person has gained, it is like by practicing Krishna consciousness intensely, what a person gains is never a loss. It's a million times of advancement by engaging in pure devotional service. So here Narad Muni is telling that same thing, that one should never get doubt that any loss is coming in the material world. So by practicing Krishna consciousness in association of devotee, this devotee could do Gaur Aarti, this devotee could attend morning program, this devotee could attend nice Bhagavatam classes, this devotee could attend so many things, so much spiritual advancement is being made. And now, any life, even in next life, he gets lower birth due to whatever reason. Even in the next life, he gets a lower birth. Prabhupada says, still there is no loss. Because whatever Krishna consciousness this person has done is a permanent benefit. It's a permanent benefit. No one can take this benefit from him. We know the example of Indradumna Maharaj, who becomes Gajendra. We know the example of so many personalities. In next life, they became even Jad Bharat. Bharat became Bharat the deer, but there is never a loss. So anyone who gives his life to Krishna consciousness, he said, there is never a loss. So there is only fortune, fortune, and fortune. So there is only fortune. There is a benefit everywhere. Even if you win, there is a benefit. Even if you lose, there is a benefit. So this is like a benefit only. So Krishna then mentions in the 41 verse, okay, what I do with such a person who has apparently failed in yoga. In case there is he practiced Krishna consciousness and suddenly he became weak and he engaged again in sense gratification and he fall down from the path. He is yoga bhrashta. He became yoga bhrashta. So what is the benefit for such a person who becomes yoga bhrashta? So 41st verse. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva sashvati saman शुचीनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्टो विजायते. योग भ्रष्ट, जो योग भ्रष्ट है उसका क्या लाभ होता है? यस ब्रो.
Translation: The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into the family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. Purport: The unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and another is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who after a short practice higher planets where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After long life there, they sent back again to this planet to take birth in a family of righteous Brahmana, Vaishnava, or of a merchant. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not persevere to such an extent and who fail because of material allurements are allowed, by grace of the Lord, to make full utilization of their material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous lives in righteous or aristocratic families. Those who are born in such families may take advantage of the facilities and try to elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness.
So there are different kinds of yogis, fallen yogis. One yogi who has fallen after a little success. Just नकुल ग्रुप में आया, वन टाइम प्रोग्राम अटेंड किया, थोड़ा बहुत कुछ करके चला गया, फॉल डाउन हो गया, चला गया वापस. कोई व्यक्ति है बहुत साल तक रहा भक्ति में, बहुत साल, 15, 20, 25, 30, 50, 100 साल तक भी रह लिया कोई, 1 लाइफ 2 लाइफ, लेकिन फिर से फॉल डाउन हो गया उसका. सो यहाँ पे बताया है जो इवन छोटा लाइक आईआईटी का अटेम्प्ट मारता है ना, जैसे आईआईटी जेई का किसी ने प्रिपरेशन किया, उसने पूरा 3 साल कोचिंग क्लास किया, 3 साल कोचिंग क्लास करने के बाद भी उसका आईआईटी लगा नहीं, तो कोई बोलेगा अरे क्या फायदा हुआ, 3 साल तुमने आईआईटी कोचिंग क्लास किया, आईआईटी मिला नहीं, अभी तुमको कॉमर्स में एडमिशन लेना पड़ रहा है. कोई बोल सकता है कि अरे क्या वेस्ट हुआ तुम्हारा पूरा आईआईटी, राइट ना. सो यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कोई योगा के लिए अपना इतना जीवन दिया और पूरा फेल हो गया तो क्या फायदा हुआ. बोले जो आईआईटी एग्जाम में से फेल होता है ना, जो आईआईटी अटेम्प्ट से फेल होता है, उसको क्या मिलता है, उसको उसको क्या मिलता है, उसको ऐसा प्लैनेट मिलता है जहां पर अश्वमेध यज्ञ करने के बाद जाने मिलता है. तो कौन से प्लैनेट? स्वर्गलोक मिलता है. वो सेड कि जो वो थोड़ा सा भी एफर्ट मारता है, फेल भी हो जाता है, उसको ऐसा प्लैनेट प्राप्य पुण्य कृताम लोकान, कृताम लोकान मतलब कृतम मतलब यज्ञ, तो अश्वमेध यज्ञ करने के बाद जो लोक मिलता है, जो प्राप्य होता है, वो प्लैनेट मिलता है ऐसे व्यक्ति को जो योगा पाथ में फेल हो चुका है. कैन यू इमेजिन, क्या भगवान का कृपा है. ऐसा एग्जाम जिसमें फेल होने पर इतना बड़ा डेस्टिनेशन बनता है. लाइक सपोज कोई ऐसा एग्जाम निकाला जाए कि अगर ये कोई पर्टिकुलर एग्जाम जिसमें फेल होने पर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में प्लेसमेंट मिलता है, अरे यार सब लोग अटेम्प्ट करेंगे ना, फेल होने पर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में प्लेसमेंट मिलता है, तो पास होने पर क्या मिलेगा, है ना. एंड व्हाट इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ योगा. ही सेज 2 प्रकार के बेनिफिट मिलते हैं. कुछ कुछ लोगों को भौतिक सुख मिलता है, कुछ लोगों को मुक्ति भी मिलती है. अगर कोई योगा पाथ में फेल भी होता है तो भी मुक्ति मिल जाती है. सो इसे अगर कोई व्यक्ति इम्परफेक्ट योगी है, उसको मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट करने की डिजायर्स थी अंदर, तो ऐसे व्यक्ति को मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट मिलती है. कोई व्यक्ति इम्परफेक्ट योगी है, उसको मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट करने की डिजायर नहीं थी, पर पूरी तरह योगा में परफेक्शन नहीं, 100 आउट ऑफ 100 नहीं मिल पाया उसको, थोड़ा कमजोर रहा वो सेंस कंट्रोल में, या कुछ तो गड़बड़ बची, वैसे व्यक्ति को लिबरेशन भी मिलता है। और कुछ लोगों को माना कि कुछ योगी इसको क्या कहते हैं, मटेरियल डिजायर भी नहीं थी, कुछ भी नहीं था, लेकिन उनके भाग्य में लिखा है मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट समहाउ, जैसे शौबरी मुनि या करदम्ब मुनि, ऐसा कुछ तो था। तो शौबरी मुनि योगा पास से फेल होने के बाद मानधाता के 50 डॉटर से शादी किया। क्या, कैन यू इमेजिन? योगा पाठ करने जाने के बाद 50, एक एक स्त्री से शादी करने के लिए राजा की लड़की से कितना पुण्य लगेगा। वो योगा पाठ से फेल हो गया, 50 लड़कियों से शादी किया, मानधाता का नाम भागवतम में आ रहा है, कृष्ण उसको डिलीवर कर रहे हैं, कितना बड़ा स्पेशल पास टाइम है सब चीजें। तो वन शुड नो दैट शुचि नाम मतलब क्या? शुचि नाम मतलब ब्राह्मण, ब्राह्मण परिवार में जहाँ पर रिलीजियस एक्टिविटी बचपन से परफॉर्म होती है, तो ऐसे परिवार में जन्म होता है। या ऐसा कोई फैमिली, श्रीमताम, श्रीमताम मीन्स वेरी वेरी रिच फैमिली। सो ऑल ऑफ अस ऑल्सो शुड थिंक इन दिस मैनर दैट मैं भी लास्ट लाइफ में फॉलन योगी होगा, थोड़ा मात्रा में, कुछ तो योगी, कुछ तो योगा पाथ से भ्रष्ट हो गया होगा। क्यों? क्योंकि अगर मुझे भी ऐसे फैमिली में जन्म मिला है कि शुचि नाम मतलब जहाँ पर स्पिरिचुअल एक्टिविटी, स्पिरिचुअल कल्चर, काफी हद तक स्पिरिचुअल कल्चर बचपन से था। आप में से कितने लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि आपके घर पे थोड़ा स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट था, बचपन से ही काफी स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट था, मतलब मटेरियलिस्टिक भी थे, लेकिन स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट रहा है, वर्शिप रहा है? कोई भी ठीक है, माना कि साईं बाबा होंगे, गजानन महाराज होंगे, कुछ तो होंगे, जो भी होंगे मुझे पता नहीं, सब अलग अलग बाबा जी बाबा होंगे, लेकिन स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट रहा है आपके घर। ओके, काफी डिवोटिस के घर पे स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट रहा है। तो दैट मीन्स व्हाट, हमारा कुछ तो योगा का पाथ भ्रष्ट हो गया है, लास्ट लाइफ में कुछ तो गड़बड़ किया है, तो ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में जन्म लिया है कि बचपन से ही स्पिरिचुअल एनवायरनमेंट रहा है। या तो फिर कुछ लोगों को ऐसे जन्म मिलेगा जिसको ज्यादा मटेरियल नीड्स का टेंशन नहीं रहा है, जितना लक्ष्मी चाहिए उतना मिल गया है, कॉलेज में एडमिशन लेना है मिल गया, ड्रेस चाहिए मिल गया, कपड़ा खाना है, सारे मटेरियल नीड्स को फुलफिल कर दिया पहले बचपन में। ऐसा बहुत ज्यादा मारा मारी नहीं दी उनको कि अरे ये नहीं मिलेगा वो नहीं मिलेगा। सो श्रीमताम मीन सच ए फैमिली, सच ए वेल्दी फैमिली that where material needs are no more required. So he said now such a person can focus on dharma. That is why Krishna shows such much compassion. So let's prepare for, let's attempt to give an exam जिसमें फेल होने पर स्वर्ग मिलता है, पास होने पर स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड मिलता है। तो फेल होने पर भी इतना बड़ा बेनिफिट मिलता है। तो he said कि there is never a loss. So that is what Krishna is speaking here, that there is never a misfortune on the path of yoga. And then in the 42nd shloka, Krishna also mentions that a unsuccessful yogi who falls after long practice, he says he will take birth in the family of great yogis. Will take a family in the family of a devotee only, almost devotee. So ready-made devotee. Will like from childhood only such a family will be devotee. So 42nd verse is speaking about that. जिन्होंने बहुत भक्ति करने के बाद जिसका फॉल डाउन हुआ है, अगला जन्म उसका डिवोटी परिवार है पक्का। ओके, अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभातरम् लोके जन्म ईदृशम्।
Or if unsuccessful, after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. Purport. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have now degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both are spiritual master, Om Vishnu Pad Shri Srimad Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord. And both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of transcendental system.
So how many of you have from childhood have an environment of Krishna worship at your family? How many of you feel that Krishna Bhakti, or not Krishna Bhakti was not there, but worship of Krishna was the main deity for you from childhood? Okay, Satyanarayan Prabhu as Jagannath ji. So you're born in a family of Jagannath worshippers. Okay, anyone else? You had a Krishna, Vishnu, Vittal, or anyone, not a Krishna, may not be Krishna, Lord Ram, any one of these avatars. That was your main deity in the family. Okay, so some of you. So we find that we should understand that हमने योग भ्रष्ट निकले, हम योग भ्रष्ट मतलब कुछ तो मटेरियल डिजायर से हम फंस गए लास्ट लाइफ में. We said now we should take this opportunity very seriously. एंड जिसके यहाँ पे नहीं भी था वर्शिप, टेंशन मत लो, हमें भी यही सोचना चाहिए हम योग भ्रष्ट थे, हमारे पे था ही नहीं. हम योग भ्रष्ट थे, तो योग भ्रष्ट भ्रष्ट हो हमारा योगा. तो अभी इससे एक कंक्लूजन निकालना है, अभी योग भ्रष्ट नहीं बनना है, अभी योग भ्रष्ट नहीं करना है. मतलब योगा पाथ लिया है, लेकिन फेल हो गए तो भी अच्छा बेनिफिट मिलेगा. दैट मीन्स फेल मत, फेल पास होंगे तो क्या मिलेगा, दैट वी शुड थिंक. सो नाउ लेट्स फोकस ऑन passing the examination. And you know how to pass examination? So there is one very nice statement Mahavishnu Maharaj writes that what it means to prepare for our life's examination, what it means to prepare for death, like how to understand that somebody is preparing for his death properly. Sometimes we all speak about so much, ना क्या होगा, कोविड बढ़ रहा है, इंडिया पाकिस्तान का वार आ रहा है, शक्ति नाम का तूफान आ रहा है, सब अलग अलग तूफान आ रहे हैं, ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है. हम कभी कभी मटेरियल की प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में चर्चा करते हैं, but what it actually means to prepare for death? So Mahavishnu Maharaj says, if anyone who is preparing for his examination, that is called as death, then he will not even waste a single moment of his life in senseless activities, nonsense activities. So he said he will never ever afford to spend time in the nonsense activities. Such a person, we can understand that he is preparing for death. Such a person is preparing for his life examination. So if we also want to prepare for our life's examination, let's not spend time in the nonsense activities. Nonsense activities that don't make any sense in the life. Such time should not be spent. So we should be very very cautious in utilizing even every moment of our life. So calculative, we should spend time like money. The way we spend money, that way we should spend our time. I will not give time to anyone and anyone like that. No, I will be very thoughtful and counting how I'm spending my time. So that is the person who is preparing for his death or his examination. So in the so two kinds of yogis are mentioned. 41 verse spoke about someone who did little yoga and fell down, but somebody who did long yoga and then he fall down, then what will happen? So these two shlokas are being mentioned, at 40, 42, 41 and 42. Now 43 and 44 is speaking about नो मैटर छोटा, कोई छोटा योगी था, कोई मोटा योगी था, कैसे भी फॉल डाउन हुआ, कोई डिवोटी की फैमिली में जन्मा, कोई नॉन डिवोटी की फैमिली में जन्मा, कोई रिच फैमिली में जन्मा, किसी ने भी अगर योगा कर लिया है या कोई प्रकार का योगा कर लिया है, ऐसा व्यक्ति, उसका नेचुरल आकर्षण रहेगा भक्ति के प्रति या स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ के प्रति नेक्स्ट लाइफ में, और वो वापस स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में आ ही जाएगा. दैट इज 43rd and 44 verse speaking about any person who did little bit of yoga will resume the yoga in the next life, will continue spiritual life in the next life. So 43 and 44 verse is speaking about that चाहे छोटा योगी हो, मोटा योगी हो, कैसा भी योगी हो, लेकिन he will continue the spiritual life. 43rd verse. तत्रतं बुद्धि संयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन.
Translation. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. Purport. King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been among the demigods as Bharatvarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavritvarsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jadbharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Raghugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never goes in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets the repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So this example is given of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj in his third birth took birth in the family of a Brahmana, and there was revival of his Krishna consciousness, Vismriti. So here the word comes is Porvadehikam. Porvadehikam, the shloka mentions is he gets remembrance of his previous life. So this word is coming now. Labate Porvadehikam. Labate Porvadehikam means he gets remembrance of his previous life. And Tatra Buddhi Samyogam. Tatra Buddhi Samyogam means what? That he again gets faith in Supreme Lord. So some yogam, he will again come. He will have natural faith in Krishna consciousness. So he says that is the benefit for a person who fell down in the last life. So naturally he will have faith, a taste for spiritual life, and again he will come to spiritual path. So you see, certain people they have a difficulty in accepting Krishna to be Supreme Lord. They have a great challenge. इतना डिबेट करेंगे, आर्ग्यू करेंगे, शिव जी है, ये है, वो है. कुछ लोगों को तुरंत पकड़ लेते हैं. कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा, फटाक करके पकड़ लेते हैं एकदम. कृष्णा सुप्रीम पर्सनैलिटी चैंटिंग बेसिक फटाफट पकड़ लेते हैं. सो दैट मीन्स व्हाट? उन्होंने उतना प्रोग्रेस लास्ट लाइफ में मार दिया है प्रभु, लेकिन थोड़ा बहुत बचा था फेथ, वो आगे कंटिन्यू कर रहा है. So he says that he remembers his previous life, that he was a devotee before, and then again he continues. So example here is given of Jada Bharat and Bharat Maharaj. Okay, 44th verse is also telling a little bit more about this. Purva abhyasena tenaiva riyate hi avashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate.
By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scripture. But advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. Aho bata swapachoto gari gariyan yaj jivagre vartate nam tupyam ekus tapaste jihugus chashnur arya brahmanuchur nama grananti yete. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural study. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakur Haridas happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life, he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas known as Shabda Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Jai. So now, suppose when such things are being mentioned, that somebody was taken to Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that he must have already done a lot of yagyas before. He must have done a lot of charity before. He must have done a lot of reading of all the scriptures before. So it is like that, suppose. So how to understand this now? Now, suppose, let's say, okay, there are certain companies, like, there is there is a company called as Bhel. I think you know, na? What is that? Bhel? Bhel का long form क्या है? Bhel?
भारत हेवी इलेक्ट्रिकल लिमिटेड.
क्या क्या?
भारत हेवी इलेक्ट्रिकल लिमिटेड.
ओके, भारत हेवी इलेक्ट्रिकल लिमिटेड. और दूसरा कंपनी था बार्क, बाबा एटॉमिक रिसर्च सेंटर, सपोज, है ना? सो सपोज बाबा एटॉमिक रिसर्च सेंटर इस कॉलेज में, या अरे सॉरी, इस इंस्टीट्यूशन में एडमिशन लेने के लिए आपको सपोज गेट क्वालिफाई करना पड़ता है. आपको क्या कहते हैं, आईआईटी में इतना रैंक लाना पड़ता है, और आपको इतना, मतलब जो भी अलग अलग चीजें क्वालिफिकेशंस है वो अप्लाई करनी पड़ती है. सही, राइट? या तो फिर गूगल में सिलेक्ट होने के लिए आपको कम से कम आईआईटी जेई का ही एडमिशन देना पड़ता है, ये करना पड़ता है, इतना, मतलब कुछ पेटेंट फाइल करना पड़ता है. इतना होने के बाद में आपको गूगल में एडमिशन मिलता है, सब कुछ. अभी कोई व्यक्ति, क्या कहते हैं, गूगल के आदमी का रिलेटिव बन गया है और उसको गूगल में एडमिशन मिल चुका है, राइट ना? उस गूगल का रिलेटिव है, वो जो गूगल के ओनर का रिलेटिव है, या गूगल के जो रिक्रूटर है उसका रिलेटिव है, और उसने एडमिशन तुरंत उसको दे दिया. ऑल्दो वो डिप्लोमा ही पास था, केवल डिप्लोमा किया था वो, लेकिन उसको गूगल में एडमिशन मिल चुका है. दैट मीन्स व्हाट? इसका मतलब उसने ऑलरेडी इंजीनियरिंग कर लिया, एमटेक कर लिया, उसने सारा गेट का एग्जाम दे दिया, जो भी था सब कुछ दे दिया. आप बोलोगे उसको, उसने गेट की पढ़ाई किधर की प्रभु? कोई गेट की पढ़ाई की नहीं, उसने तो इंजीनियरिंग भी की नहीं, उसने सिर्फ डिप्लोमा किया, और आप कैसे बोल रहे हो कि उसको डायरेक्ट सब कुछ हो गया उसका? उसको तो कुछ आता नहीं. नहीं, द फैक्ट उसने उधर पोस्ट प्राप्त की है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली अज्यूम्ड है, क्योंकि इतना सब कुछ करने के बाद भी गारंटी नहीं कि आपको गूगल में एडमिशन मिलेगा फिर. लेकिन आपने ये स्टेट ऑलरेडी प्राप्त कर दिया, मतलब इन दैट वे कंपैरिजन इज मेंशन दैट समबडी हु हैज अटेन्ड दैट स्टेट मींस व्हाट? ये सारे स्टेट उसने ऑलरेडी पार कर लिए, लाइक दैट. सो इट इज अज्यूम लाइक दैट. सो समटाइम्स यू मे से, प्रभु आप बोलते हो कि मैंने सारे शास्त्र कर दिए, मुझे तो एक भी शास्त्र का भविता का एक श्लोक भी याद नहीं होता. कोई बोलता है कि मुझे सारे यज्ञ कर लिए, चैंटिंग में नींद आता है, तो आप कैसे बोल सकते हो कि मैंने सारे यज्ञ कर लिए? बट शास्त्र बताते हैं कि जितना यज्ञ करने के बाद, जितना शास्त्र बेनिफिट पढ़ने के बाद जो बेनिफिट लोगों को मिल नहीं पाता, वो बेनिफिट उसको मिल चुका है. सो दैट इज द वे इट इज, द कंपैरिजन इज बीइंग मेंशन्ड मेनी टाइम्स हियर. सो हियर इट इज सेड advanced yogi, that he will have a natural inclination for spiritual life, and he will take to Krishna consciousness immediately. So this is the fate of a fallen yogi, that he will naturally be attracted. So he will resume the path of yoga. Now, and 45th verse is speaking about that after continuing spiritual life or the yoga path in the next life, he will get perfection in his life. So it may take two lifetimes, 3 lifetimes, 4 lifetimes. कुछ lifetimes लगेंगे, लेकिन such a person will attain perfection very soon. He will attain perfection very fast. So that is being mentioned in the 45th verse. 45th verse. प्रयत्नाद् यत्मानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिष अनेक जन्म संसिद्धस् ततो याति पराम गतिम्.
Translate.
And
When the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contamination, then ultimately achieving perfection after many births of practice, he attains supreme goal. Purport. A person born in particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family become conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleans himself of all material contamination. When he is finally free from all contamination, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contamination. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Yesam tu antagatam papam jnanam punya karmanam te dvada moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhrida vritaha. After many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contamination and from all illusory dualities, one became engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord.
So, if you see here, this verse is speaking about that the yogi, he was trying in path of yoga with the full effort, and he said now he'll complete his effort and will attain perfection, and he will go back home, back to Godhead. So now, just a little discussion here about why does one fall from the path of yoga? So why does what do you feel? What might be the reason? There is one very beautiful lecture by Radheshyam Prabhu. I can share maybe if you want at the end of the class. I will try to share. There is one lecture called as how to take a reverse gear from the early stages of fall down. Anyone of you heard this lecture? How to take reverse gear from the early stages of fall down. So he said there is a nice lecture. तो जब रिवर्स गियर मतलब तो गाड़ी का रिवर्स गियर होता है, जब आपको लग रहा है कि फॉल डाउन हो रहा है तो रिवर्स गियर लेना चाहिए, फॉल डाउन हो रहा है तो पीछे कैसे जाने का. So he said one should learn to take a reverse gear when the early stage of fall down. So okay, just can you just a discussion about what are the possible reasons you feel that one falls down from the path of yoga? Means or here we are like all devotees. So what all are the reasons of what are the prominent reasons of fall down of a devotee? That you feel that these are the prominent reasons why one fall down from the path of Krishna consciousness, even after coming to Krishna consciousness. Okay, you can quickly write in the chat box or you can unmute and speak. Patapat, patapat. That, okay, Aparat, thank you. Any other reasons for fall down in Krishna consciousness? Why fall down happens? Okay, because of bad association. Here, Sankesh was telling one of the major reason is bad association. Yeah, suppose he's in good association, still he's falling down. Okay, so attachment to sense enjoyment, he could not give up. He was so attached to sense enjoyment and he could not give up. Kunal was telling weakness of heart. Yeah, although he knew what is to be done, he was very weak. He broke four regular principles. He had a lot of material desires. Yeah, Tejas Prabhu is writing improper sadhana. Very good, nice point. Karthik Prabhu is telling deep-rooted material desires. So, if you see, all of us, these deep-rooted material desires or all these things are, like you said, perfect. But sadhana or bhakti yoga has such a power that it can remove all contamination very soon. It can even burn away all the contamination of material desires and sinful activities and all. So despite of chanting, if he is not going ahead, that means what Tejas Prabhu also said is he was doing a sadhana, but he was not putting proper effort in doing sadhana. And this is the major one of the always one of the common reasons why a person falls down. Also, the cause of falling from the path of yoga is the lack of effort. हम थोड़ी तीव्रता थोड़ी कम है हमारी, उतनी तीव्रता हमने नहीं लगाई है स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में. सो ही सेड ऑल्दो उसको फेथ था, लेकिन उसने एफर्ट जो यति करना होता है, यति मीन्स एंडेवर करना होता है, उसकी यति अयति हो गई. अयति मीन्स इट वाज नॉट सफिशिएंट एंडेवर, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वो अपना कम एफर्ट लगाने की वजह से उसका पाथ में फॉल डाउन हो जाता है, भ्रष्ट बन जाता है, वो पूरा परफेक्शन उसको प्राप्त नहीं कर पाता है. And then again, after few more births, few more attempts, he puts full effort. And then when he puts full effort, so it is said, then like Kardam Muni also says, one shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto, Kardam Muni writes, Bahu Janma Vipakvena Samyog Yoga Samadhina Drashtum Drashtum Etante Yatayataha. So he writes that after many births, yogis by the complete yoga, he said, so it takes some few births, it takes 3 births, 4 births. Like कभी कभी IIT एग्जाम हम IIT के एग्जाम में हम बैठते हैं लेकिन सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाते. कई बार उसका रीजन क्या होता है, हमने प्रॉपर एफर्ट नहीं लगाया, सफिशिएंट एंडेवर नहीं किया, और तो कभी कभी एक अटेम्प्ट, फिर दूसरा अटेम्प्ट, फिर तीसरा अटेम्प्ट, कभी कभी 3-3 4-4 अटेम्प्ट लगते हैं, उसके बाद व्यक्ति सक्सेसफुली पास हो जाता है। तो वैसे ही योगा पाथ में भी वन ऑफ द मेजर रीजन जो है, वो व्यक्ति जो फेल होता है, उसका कारण है कि वो सफिशिएंट एंडेवर नहीं लगाया, उतनी तीव्रता नहीं लगाया, उसको थोड़ा सा कम तीव्रता से उसने सब कुछ एंडेवर लगाया। तो यहाँ पे वही बताया है कि अगर कम एंडेवर लगाया था उसने, कोई बात नहीं, अगले लाइफ में वो फिर से एंडेवर लगाएगा और आगे जाके कुछ 3-4 बर्थ, फ्यू बर्थ में चला जाएगा। तो भक्तिनाथ ठाकुर क्या कहते हैं पता है, जनरली किसी व्यक्ति को 3 लाइफ टाइम्स लगते हैं स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ को परफेक्ट करने के लिए। सोचो आप, 3 लाइफ टाइम मिनिमम लगते हैं, ऐसा बोला गया है। तो अभी हम इस पाथ में आए हैं, तो हमको भी 3 लाइफ लेना पड़ेगा क्या? ये वाला बर्थ गया, दूसरे बर्थ में आज ये वॉइस में जन्म लिया, अगले बर्थ में दूसरे वॉइस में जन्म लेंगे, और तीसरे बर्थ में अलग वॉइस में जन्म करेंगे, कौन से वॉइस में पास आउट हो जाएंगे डायरेक्ट तपस्या टू स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड? ऐसा होगा कि नहीं? ऐसा नहीं होगा। तो इसलिए प्रभुपाद ने हमें कॉन्फिडेंस दिया है। प्रभुपाद बोले 1 लाइफ में पॉसिबल है, वन स्ट्रोक मेथड। अगर आप फुल फुल कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ, फुल फेथ के साथ गुरु की सेवा करते हो, ये सेट एक 1 लाइफ टाइम में भी आप अचीव कर सकते हो। कई सारे लोग सीए का अटेम्प्ट, आईएएस का एग्जामिनेशन एक अटेम्प्ट में पास करते हैं। हाँ, तो आप में ऐसे कितने लोगों को एक अटेम्प्ट में निकलना है कि थोड़े और 2-3 अटेम्प्ट लेना है? कितने लोगों को लगता है एक अटेम्प्ट में निकलने की इच्छा है? एटलीस्ट इच्छा है। हरि बोल। सबकी एक अटेम्प्ट में निकलने की इच्छा है। तो वो लोग सब बॉडी वॉडी बोलते हैं, रोज बिना अटेम्प्ट किए भी निकल सकते हैं क्या? ऐसा कुछ तरीका बताओ, बिना अटेम्प्ट किए भी निकलने की इच्छा, कोई जाए क्या ग्रेस मार्क्स या पास मार्क्स निकल जाए? सो नहीं, थोड़ा अटेम्प्ट करना पड़ेगा हमें। सो वी कैन, इट इज पॉसिबल इन 1 अटेम्प्ट ओनली, वी हैव टू जस्ट पुट प्रॉपर एफर्ट। तो हम साधना में हमारा एफर्ट जो है वो थोड़ा कमजोर है, दैट इज वन ऑफ द मेजर रीजन, सो बिकॉज ऑफ विच आवर डिवोटी फॉल्स डाउन। So tomorrow, what we'll do is tomorrow the last 2 shlokas of this chapter we will try to cover tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll also try to give entire, if possible, I'll try to give entire summary of all 6 chapters in half an hour. So in case you, so tomorrow you can just make a note so that आपको एक पिक्चर फॉर्म में, स्टोरी फॉर्म में पूरा गीता याद हो जाए। तो 6 चैप्टर्स कैसे स्टोरी थी, तो कल मिस मत करिए, और अगर पॉसिबल तो कल ही एंड करेंगे, जरूरत पड़ा अगर तो एक परसों लेंगे, नहीं तो फिर कल ट्राई करेंगे कि हम कंप्लीट हो जाए पूरा डिस्कशन। सो प्लीज ऑल्सो टुमारो विल स्पीक अबाउट हाउ टू प्रिपेयर फॉर एग्जामिनेशन, in case someone has any doubts about examination, what how to study, what is difficulty. So tomorrow that will be also handled. So please do not miss tomorrow's session. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। And any questions are there? So please keep it reserved for tomorrow. Tomorrow question answer also we'll try to give. So first, so any questions are there? First 15 minutes question answer. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.